Revealing America's Dark-Skinned Past, Volume 2, The Columbian Era. The misconceptions that permeate American history, especially United States history, are so numerous and abundant that when people are presented with historical facts that deviate from the customary perceptions, they have a tendency to dismiss the information as another conspiracy theory. The old stories from the discovery of the New World to the colonization of the United States are filled with so many fallacies that the retelling of these over the centuries has turned these fictions into truth. The misrepresentations of previous historical writings have become today's realities of the past, not realizing that history has become, using the words of Napoleon, a myth that men agreed to believe. One of the most prevalent fallacies in the North American history is the story surrounding Christopher Columbus and the people he encountered. It is interesting to note that early 20th century histories were stating that Christopher Columbus was trying to prove that the world was round. However, late 19th century historical writings on Columbus, not school textbooks, make no mention of this revelation. They do, however, tell in great detail of the carnage that took place on the islands during Columbus' reign. They also describe in detail of the hospitableness of the indigenous people, the gentle nature of the indigenous people until they had to defend themselves, and that the indigenous people were considered Negroes. Eventually, in the retelling of this story, as history has a tendency to do, facts were being deleted. The man who changed modern history could not be depicted as a slaver, amongst other things, and most of all, the image of the indigenous people and the words and names used to describe them had to be changed to accommodate European interests and values. As you read this book, it is with great anticipation that you will discover that there is much to learn about the history of the people of color on this landmass of North America. We must realize that it was an intention before Columbus left Spain to cross the Atlantic Ocean to subjugate the indigenous people that would be encountered. We must realize that the people Columbus encountered were used as slaves and that the shipping of some of those captured indigenous people back to Spain was the beginning of the transatlantic slave trade. We must realize that the Negroid people of the islands were no different in the eyes of the European than Negroid people of Africa. Both of these cultures to the Europeans were fair objects of rapine, captivity, and slavery.